right. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me on the interwebs each and every day. Each and every day, pretty much 7 days a week, unless there's something going on that denies me the opportunity to do a video. And also, coffee is delicious. But good to see y'all. We're live on Rockfin, Callin, and on YouTube. Okay. Let's see. Let's get into it, because time is a wasting. All right. I see y'all on Rockfin. Thanks, Rockfinners, YouTubers. I see y'all. Adelia landed and caused some damage. They're saying it's kind of a conflicting information, because they're saying that it's Adelia could be the most costly disaster, but didn't really do the damage that they expected it to do. However, here's some video of a car getting flipped in the air from some hurricane force winds. Again, this is the future of industrial civilization, is people trying to do normal things like, well, what we call normal, like drive our cars down highways. And nature going not so fast. And we see that pretty much every day. We have hail taking cars out. We have floods taking cars out. We have hurricane force winds taking cars out. But people want to be mad at protesters sitting in the middle of the road. Right? Anyways, Tropical Storm Idalia descended on the Carolinas on its way out to the Atlantic Ocean on Thursday, leaving a trail of flooding and destruction throughout the southeast that stretched back to its landfall as a hurricane in Florida. Rescue and repair efforts continued in the areas the storm passed Wednesday, and there was no immediate word on the toll from the ferocious winds and inundating waters, but authorities counted at least one death. The storm left as many as 500,000 customers without power in Florida and other states at one point, as it ripped down power poles and lines. Still, it was far less destructive than feared, providing only glancing blows to Tampa Bay and other more populated areas as it came ashore with 125-mile-per-hour winds in rural Florida. So there is a brief update on that. Let's see. There's a super typhoon, Saola, heading towards China. Super typhoon Saola will come very close to striking Hong Kong in the next 24 hours. Super typhoon. So I imagine we're going to see some flooding videos coming out of China, right, in the next day or two. Because with a name like Super Typhoon, I don't think it's going to deal a glancing blow, right? So everybody's keeping an eye on that one. Let's see. Maybe I can get some more like kind of. There's a hashtag on Twitter called "COVID is airborne." Okay, I dare not even go there. Here's a little more of an update on Seola. Super Typhoon Seola is tracking towards Hong Kong and Guangdong province, China, with winds over 240 kilometers per hour. Some weakening will occur as the typhoon interacts with land, but it will remain a strong system on approach. So there you go. Let's keep going. Hooray for the climate president. So the climate president Biden have to vote for Biden because of fascism and or the climate. Is it clear? It's becoming clear to me what some very good journalists have pointed out over the last few years. One of them being Jimmy Dore. Some very aware people have pointed out that, well, I guess it's part of the ratchet effect, right? This is the opposite of the ratchet effect. So the ratchet effect is the right, the conservatives push things to the right, and when the Democrats or the liberals get in power, they don't really push back. They don't push things to the left, right? They just kind of hold status quo. This is the conventional idea of the ratchet effect. But I have heard from other news people who cloak themselves as comedians. I've heard from other news people that it's actually the Democrats that allow for the more right-wing things to pass through, things that the Republicans could not get through. And what I'm seeing from the Biden administration is a really wonderful, fine example of just that, right? It's actually the Democrats that are doing worse than the Republicans. It's actually the Democrat. You think, oh man, this Republican is, I don't know though. If you want to go back to George W. Bush, he was pretty bad. But I think George Bush was kind of still in the classic ratchet effect mode, right? Of pushing things to the right and the Democrats kind of barely pushing things back. But let's go back to Bill Clinton, right? Bill Clinton pushed through NAFTA, which everybody, at the time, yeah, all right. Internationalism, globalism, yes, free trade, right? They saw it as kind of a liberal win. But what it was a gutting out, a hollowing out, a further hollowing out of our economy, right? You basically take good paying manufacturing jobs away from American people and ship it overseas to people who are barely making anything a day. Right, so you're impoverished in some ways. You're impoverishing two different people at the same time. Genius. Anyways, NAFTA was a Republican idea, and Bill Clinton got it passed. And I don't know, as I've seen in the last, during the abominable administration. Right, he passed Obamacare, which again was like the liberals were like, yeah, right, healthcare for all. What it was, now we know that Obamacare was actually a right-wing healthcare plan that forces people to pay for their healthcare for increasingly crappy healthcare, and they pay increasingly higher premiums for increasingly, less care. That's how Obamacare has gone forward. Right? It's just worse and worse. It's crappier and crappier. And it was a bad idea to start with. And they could have got Medicare for all passed or a public option passed, but they didn't do that. They had a supermajority. They had a Democratic supermajority, president and all, and the House and the Senate, and they didn't pass a public option. So it wasn't just the ratchet. And Obama got us into how many more wars, right? After saying like, well, we're going to pull out of Iraq. He got us into more wars, more wars than Bush started, right? Bush started 2 pretty major wars. And Obama was like, I'll do you one better. How about 4? How about 4 more wars? How about Libya, Yemen, Syria, right? And how about we overthrow Ukraine, right? That happened under Obama. And now we see under Biden the evacuation of EPA laws. We see, still ongoing, energy independence, drilling for oil, opening up, just as much, if not more. What was it in his first year? He granted more drilling licenses than Trump. So who's worse for the climate? The guy that says, I think climate change is real and I love the climate and the environment and we're doing all we can, but but under the covers, they're doing worse than Trump. Provoking an actual, war in Ukraine. The gutting of freedom of choice as far as abortion goes, right? That happens under Biden. So what's happening under Biden is that things are actually moving more towards the right than under Trump. What you have is more fascism than under Trump. This is the reality. If you're actually looking at things, with a clear viewfinder, this is what you should be seeing. This is what you should be acknowledging, that it's actually getting much worse under Biden. And the ratchet effect isn't that the Republicans push it to the right and the Democrats hold it there. No. Now it's the Republicans are like, they try to push it to the right, and there's, oh, well, we can't really go too far because there's too much pushback. And then the Democrats get in, they're like, let's go. Let's throw that ball downfield, right? And Republicans are like, I got you. We'll catch you over here. We'll catch you at the next Republican presidential administration. Come on, let's go downfield. Hey, Brady, man, I'm not going to take any calls right this moment. I'll take some calls later in the show if you want to hang out. I appreciate you calling in, though, man. Yeah, so that's what's happening. If you really want like a real breakdown of what's happening, and this is not my own ideas, there's other people have spoken about this happening, and I am, not that I didn't acknowledge it or didn't think it was true either, but I'm just seeing confirmation of it. I'm just reporting on, here's another story that tells you that the Democrats are actually more right-wing than the Republicans these days. The Republicans are the ones that are like, how about no more war? How about freedom of speech? How about, they won't go as far as to like give people things, right? Like how about some public assistance, homelessness and food and all that, right? They won't go as far as all that, but they're kind of bringing forward these like traditionally left-wing ideas of like, how about no more war? How about no more funding Ukraine? How about helping the people of America out? Like stuff like that. Those are traditionally left-wing ideas. And the Democrats are like, no, we need some more fascism right away. But let's blame the right for all the fascism, right? Like that is a perfect sleight of hand, perfect 3-card Monty, because while you're looking over here going like, yeah, those are the fascists. They're like doing all the fascist stuff and you're like, wait, what just happened? Right? You're just sitting there looking stupid at the 3-card Monty table like, what? Oh, he just took my money. Shoot. What just happened? I just got hoodwinked. What's going on? This is the reality of what's going on. Should you be confused about it? Anyways, the Environmental Protection Agency removed federal protections for a majority of the country's wetlands. Go Trump. I mean, go Biden. Right? This is something that you might think Trump would do. No, it's Biden. No, it's Biden. The Environmental Protection Agency removed federal protections for a majority of the country's wetlands on Tuesday to comply with a recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling. Wow. Well, as long as we're complying and stuff. The EPA and Department of the Army announced a final rule amending the definition of protected waters of the United States in light of the decision in Sackett versus EPA in May, which narrowed the scope of the Clean Water Act and the agency's power to regulate waterways and wetlands. I don't know. I guess we just don't have the power. I don't know. I guess we just don't have the power. I'm glad to see that the NSA bots have shown up on call-in. Hope you guys are getting a good paycheck. I hope you can afford to go buy bread at the store and stuff with the paycheck you're getting to come harass people online. It must be fun. Must be a good job. That's really annoying. I apologize for the interference. Hey guys, can you hear me now? Please let me know that the audio is okay. I apologize for the audio issues. I cannot help it sometimes, okay? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Rock Finners and all good? Okay, thank you. Anyways, the EPA is rolling back their powers to regulate waterways and wetlands. So thanks, Biden. Developers and environmental groups have for decades argued about the scope of the 1972 Clean Water Act in protecting waterways and wetlands. A 2006 Supreme Court decision determined that wetlands would be protected if they had a significant nexus to major waterways. What does that even mean? This year's court decision undid that standard. The EPA's new rule removes the significant nexus test from consideration when identifying tributaries and other waters as federally protected. So they're saying they used to be connected, but now they're not connected. If they're connected to major waterways, they were protected. But now, well, I don't know if they're connected or not. In May, Justice Samuel Alito said the navigable U.S. waters regulated by the EPA under the Clean Water Act do not include many previously regulated wetlands. Writing the court's decision, he said the law includes only streams, oceans, rivers, and lakes, and wetlands with a continuous surface connection to those bodies. Again, whatever that means. The EPA said the rule will take effect immediately. The agencies are issuing the amendment to the 2023 rule expeditiously, 3 months after the Supreme Court. Because, guys, we got to go forward as fast as this is so important. We we got to go. We got to do this right away. I wonder why. To provide clarity and a path forward consistent with the ruling, the agency said, as a result of the rule change, protections for many waterways and wetlands will now fall to states. Awesome. So if your state happens to have, just a traditionally right-wing, I don't give a F about the environment, and we should open all this up to mining and oil drilling, well then, you're out of luck. Unbelievable, though, right? Unbelievable. I don't know how we get out of this. We're stuck between a right-wing Democrat, like an extremely right-wing Democrat, and a right-wing Republican, running for president. There are options, but we can't seem to be able to take those. Well, this is good and scary. This will scare the pants off you. I've talked about this before. Yeah, no, I agree. Osama, yes, they're all fascists. It's just two fascists. I'm just saying one is supremely right wing and fascist. The other is right wing and fascist. I don't even know which one is the different. Right now, it looks like Biden is the more fascist. That doesn't mean like, well, I hope you vote for Trump, because that's not what I mean. That's not what I'm saying. So hopefully you don't misconstrue my words in a pretzel logic kind of a way. Anyways, the United States military plans to start using thousands of autonomous weapon systems in the next 2 years in a bid to counter China's growing power. Well, because China is doing it, we got to do it too. Remember, I was talking about the fact that they are already, I'm sure, gigantic warehouses somewhere full of robot dogs. I'm talking about weaponized robot dogs. Or, those guys, the funny guys that we see jumping at Boston Dynamics, the cool jumping robots and dancing robots. Right? There are warehouses filled with these robots somewhere, and they're just waiting for the moment to just open the doors. And on some levels, I know I don't think that this is hyperbole. I don't think that this is I'm being too scary. But if we have a chance of fighting back, this might be the last chance we have. Like the window is between now and when they open those doors and those thousands or millions of robots just come out to do whatever they're going to do to us, right? Because at that point, game over. Straight up game over. Osama, yeah, I caught a drone spying on me too. I walked outside one day of this studio, and there was like there was a little drone just hovering there. I was like, what the hell? And maybe it's part of the new push for mandates and lockdowns and masks and the big COVID scare that they're trying to push coming soon to a theater near you, right? I mean, a lot of people are talking about that they're just going to go forward with this, like elevated level of censorship, right? Like push out the COVID mandates again, and then just like ramp up a bunch of like all the social media censorship, and then people won't have the ability to say anything, or maybe they'll start really cracking down on people for saying anything that they don't like. I don't know. But my other thought is when when they're like, well, we're instituting COVID mandates, and then you see like a pack of robot dogs come down your street, and they're like, and we will insist that you stay in your house, and these dogs will make sure that you stay in your house. Like at that point, it's game over. At that point, there is no, there's no getting out there to defend your freedoms or protest, go to your local city hall and go like, no, I don't like this. There's after that, at that point, it's game over. Anyways. And the U.S. military, all of this is like, well, we have to keep up with China. Well, we have growing threats. Well, we have to automate our, wartime footing on battlefields because, war is so important right now. The planet is falling apart, right? People are falling apart. Our industrial civilization is falling apart, and it's just so important to keep this war thing like in top shape. Right? Anyways, what I was saying was they're talking about this being in a response to needing to, be wartime ready or have a footing on the battlefield. But what this is actually going to be used for is against you and yours. It is going to be weaponized against you and yours. When we get to that moment where they're like, they're like, well, we, you thought we lived in a democracy. Yeah. And it's going to be very, very hard to fight back against these things. The so-called Replicator Initiative aims to work with defense and other tech companies to produce high volumes of affordable systems for all branches of the military. And I'm sure you're a local friendly neighborhood police department. In fact, I'm positive of that. Military systems capable of various degrees of independent operation have become increasingly common over the past decade or so. But the scale and scope of the U.S. announcement makes clear the future of the conflict has changed. The age of warfighting robots is upon us. Dun, dun, dun. Absolutely, you should look at that article and see that push out thousands, if not millions, of robots. Not a military ready or capability issue. it's a control the citizenry as things fall apart issue. Anyways, that's nice and frightening. Oh, here's another way in which the federal government is helping the climate crisis. I mean, helping to kill endangered species of animals. The U.S. federal government has been accused of simultaneously paying to protect endangered species while funding state-organized hunts of large endangered predators like gray wolves and grizzly bears that increase the likelihood of their extinction. Yeah. That's happening. Why? Why do they kill these animals? Because, people need protection. We don't want these guys messing up our plans. The bears, the bears and the wolves, they cause problems, and we just don't need these problems. We need to get rid of them. And so, the government as it stands now is like, well, we have to save these endangered species, but we also want to help get rid of them, but we don't want anybody knowing that. We're actually helping to get rid of them. A coalition of more than 35 animal welfare and indigenous groups in late 2021 formally petitioned the U.S. Department of the Interior to develop rules to withhold money from state agencies that fund the slaughters. But the department has not responded to the petition, the groups allege. The coalition renewed their call in the wake of a June Alaska Department of Fish and Game operation in which hunters gunned down 94 brown bears, 5 black bears, and 5 wolves from helicopters. In an August 23, 2023 letter to Deb Haaland, the Department of Interior Secretary, the coalition wrote that the extinction crisis is not an abstraction. It is a clear and present danger and an impending catastrophe. And as I just played the video about the wolves being, integral to the extreme in the functioning and the maintenance and the functioning of the environment of Yellowstone. And when these animals disappear, black bears and the wolves and the other large predators, when they disappear, things go badly in the environment. The environment degrades. But no worries, humans got this. We're fine. We're doing everything right. And humans are the best. And if only, the bad people will get out of the way, we do the right thing. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Because I think we could do the right thing, but I just don't see the evidence that we will. I would like to believe that we would. I would like to be on the side of optimism. I just don't see the evidence that we will do the right thing. Because people can't even frickin' stop throwing garbage on the ground in beautiful areas filled with creeks and pines and, lovely mountains. But they feel that, let's just throw our crap on the ground. Like, that's just what humans do. Let me just trample all over everything and just, destroy the beautiful nature that I'm out enjoying, I guess. Destroy it for anybody else to enjoy. That's what humans do. So, I'm a little skeptical about the whole, if we only got rid of the bad people in the government, then everything would be fine. Really? Are you, 5? Are you 5? Because that sounds like something, that sounds like a children's book. Well, just humans are just caring about people and just doing the right thing. Just caring. Okay. I mean, some people care. I'm not saying that all humans are bad. I'm not saying that some people don't, all people act destructively. I'm just saying it's a large number of people that just act destructively just because they want to and because they can. Because they can. Anyways, the letter also detailed the controversial Judas Wolf tactic in which Alaska state agents put radio collars on wolves who return to their packs, which hunters then kill. Nice. In a statement to The Guardian, the Interior Department claimed federal money is not used for the kills. Spokesperson Melissa Schwartz said the allegation that the department funded state kills was wildly inaccurate. But federal funds can be used to organize the operation and monitor the results. So there you go. We're not actually killing them directly, but we're we're organizing it and we're monitoring the results. So there's that. All right. Sorry for the. If you guys can hear the interference, I apologize. It is like incredibly annoying today. All right. Let's keep going. Here's the FEMA director talking about the idea, talking about they have no plans to provide more than $700 worth of aid to the Lahaina, Maui fire victims. No plans. Given the population of Lahaina was 13,000, that's only $1.9 million total. Meanwhile, Biden's pushing for another $23 billion for Ukraine. I've spoken with a myriad of residents that are very much bothered by that fact. Well, yeah. If Trump were doing this, would heads be exploding all over Democrat land? Of course they would. If your head's not exploding about this, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, there's something. There might be something broken in there. If you're not incensed by this coming from Biden as you would be by Trump. Again, this seems like a Trump move, but golly gee willikers, Joe Biden's doing it. Tell me again how we voted out fascism? Please. Anybody? Anybody? Somebody? Okay. Didn't think so. $700 in Hawaii is almost nothing. Yeah, $700 would right if you were like in a situation where you were like, oh my god, I don't have any food or a place to stay or clothes or anything. $700 would be like be gone in a couple days, right? Wouldn't it? Because the government told tourists Maui is closed. So many of these folks have been laid off and no longer even have an income. Countless people have lost everything. To top it all off, FEMA officials are staying in $1,000 a night resorts on Maui. FEMA also lied to residents of Maui from day one as they promised support for those economically displaced as well. Such a slap in the face to these amazing people that suffered so much. The government has absolutely screwed the residents of Maui at every single turn.
$700 in payments to individuals there, given the cost of living in Hawaii, specifically in the Lahaina community. Is anything being done right now? Are there considerations or efforts being made to try to raise that cap, that $700 figure for those who are there?
Yeah, the $700 figure of critical needs assistance is really just that amount of funding for some of the very immediate needs that individuals have. Every year, the main part of our assistance, which is our individual and household program, adjusts annually based on inflation. This year it's $41,000 of a cap that individuals can get. That will get raised after the fiscal year. I don't know what that number is yet, but we do adjust that main portion of the funding that goes to individuals annually based on inflation.
The critical needs assistance that was provided to those in Maui, $700 in payments to individuals there, given the cost of living in Hawaii, specifically in the Lahaina community. Is anything being done right now? Are there considerations or efforts being made?
Okay. When did they get the $41,000? That's what I'd like to know. Or do they get the $41,000? All right, let's see. Ooh, somebody just brought up. Hold on, I want to. It's funny. Uh, let's. I'll keep moving. Oh man, the show is getting long and late in the day very quickly. My apologies. But real quick, before I read this from Caitlin Johnson about Mitch McConnell freezing up, if you appreciate the show and you like coming and hanging out here every day with me, you can support the show at paypal.me/Kevin Sandbloom, Venmo at Kevin Sandbloom, Cash App at Red Llama Music, buymeacoffee.com/Black Bear News. Also, you can support me on Patreon. All the links are in the description box. Or you can super chat me or super ray me. That's a Rockfin tip. And if you want to send me a message, send me some support and a message. I will read it at the end of the show, okay? All right, thank you. Thank you. And thanks to everybody who supports the show. You know who you are. Let's read this from Caitlin Johnson about Mitch McConnell freezing it up. Mitch McConnell froze up in public again, the second such incident in the last few weeks. He just stood there silently, a gentle, childlike smile flickering across his face, probably for the first time since the Truman administration. In that moment, while Mitch McConnell's dying brain struggled and failed to make sense of its present reality, all the dourness was gone from his face, all the downward gravitational pull from a lifetime in the D.C. swamp, all the seriousness, all the scheming, all the warmongering, tyranny, and abusiveness. In that moment of amnesiac innocence, you'd never be able to tell from looking at Mitch McConnell how many people he's helped kill, how much suffering he's helped cause, how much health and thriving he's frozen out of humanity in his joyless facilitation of corporate dystopia. All you'd see is a man, a cute, harmless, befuddled old man. All the dark, dense, contracted energy gone from his form in a sweet, tender moment of intimate indivisibility. Capitol Hill is where warmongers and principals go to die. It's an assisted living facility for psychopaths, a nursing home where people who receive sexual gratification from dropping military explosives on foreigners go to wait for their decomposition. The whole place smells like night terrors and urine. Capitol Hill is a gerontocratic command center where miserable octogenarians in wheelchairs and adult diapers keep pulling the levers of ecocide and nuclear brinksmanship like retirees at a Vegas slot machine as a final FU to younger generations who are still capable of enjoying life on this planet. It's where they warehouse souls, too atrophied and mummified to take a stand against the empire in order to give Americans the illusion of living in a democracy. Joe Biden called McConnell his good friend, and of course they are good friends. They are the same kind of monster. The same variety of spent, half-dead beltway flotsam made of corporate logos and plastic donor-class dinner parties held together by nothing but Aricept and wood glue, who've been pushing war, militarism, austerity, and authoritarianism since the instant they were able to claw their way into elected office. This is the hub of the global empire. This is what it looks like: corrupt, decrepit, blood-spattered, shitting itself, and then Hollywood perception managers come in and dress it up as something pretty. But it all faded away in that one moment of neurological misfire, not even a distant memory as colors, sounds, and feelings swirled ineffably in McConnell's bewildered mind. Perhaps one day this will happen to the entire empire. The whole thing suddenly vanishing for the lie it always was, all its managers left blinking stupidly in the sunlight, reaching for tools that aren't there anymore, and word magic that no longer has any power. Perhaps one day, all the illusions will disappear like the network of conceptual constructs in Mitch McConnell's head. Perhaps one day, the empire will call upon its servants and no one will answer, and it will be left there anxiously repeating the call like an actor trapped on stage, repeating a line from the script, awaiting a fellow cast member who missed their cue. I don't know if you all want to watch this.
Mitch McConnell's brief flash of humanity.
Oh, he's going to read this.
Mitch McConnell just froze up again in public, the second such incident in the...
Sorry about that. I thought this was just the video from that and not him repeating what I just read, which I will not do. Anyways, there's plenty of videos of him just standing there like, what? Even when the lady, he has like a handler or helper or some lady comes up and she's like, did you hear the question, Mitch? Or Mr. McConnell? And he was like, blink. Oh, give me 1 second, guys. Hold on. Writing down some things from the chat. Just give me a second. Give me one moment. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, this is a good exchange. Sabby Sabs and Glenn Greenwald. You know I'm super duper 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 super shadow banned on Twitter and also on YouTube. You know that. Because I'm outside even the alternative journalist like kind of milieu. I'm outside of even that, and they don't like that. They don't like me. They don't like that at all. But here's some people that are more inside the alternative journalist milieu, but very good work. Sabby Sabs and Glenn Greenwald talking about Cornel West and how they're trying to smear him.
I'm sure you've seen the attacks on Cornel West. For as long as I've been around, Cornel West has been talked about in reverent terms, even within the Democratic Party, despite his being a critic of it, as one of the leading black scholars and leading intellectuals in the United States, which he absolutely is, just objectively, if you look at the history of his books and scholarship and the influence it has had. And now, sadly, overnight, they are trying to turn him into a deadbeat dad. They have this scumbag who himself doesn't really matter, except that he's clearly a paid influencer, this 20-year-old kid, Harry Sisson, who went on Twitter and said Cornel West, the Green Party candidate, owes close to $500,000 in unpaid taxes and child support. This is the guy that people on the far left are saying should take votes away from Biden. Seriously? Don't be fooled. He's not a serious candidate. Biden 2024. Later on, I believe he deleted the tweets. He was talking to some other paid influencer, and he was saying, let's remind everybody at every opportunity that Cornel West went around impregnating multiple women and abandoned his children, which is a total complete lie, but it plays into the worst tropes that the Democratic Party feels free to use. Honestly, it infuriates and disgusts me. What's your reaction to the way they're attacking Cornel West?
Well, we knew smears were going to come because he's running third party, but also even if he ran in the Democratic Party, they would smear him too because they already selected Joe Biden. That's how it works for the Democratic Party, but it just goes to show you that the Democratic Party, that liberals can also use racist tropes.
Really? Wait, so I think we're breaking some news here. What you're saying is that liberals, people who are adherents to the Democratic Party, are capable of either weaponizing racism or actually believing in racist views? Or is that what you're telling me?
100%, Glenn. Some of the same people who have, especially especially I see it here like in places like Massachusetts, right? So some of the same people who have a Black Lives Matter sign in their window don't want you living next door to them. They don't want me living next door to them. Some of the same people who say that they support that LGBTQ people should have their rights don't want it in their backyard.
Ooh. Yeah, that's uncomfortable, isn't it? But true. All right. Heading into the end here, I don't know. Gabon, here's some more news on Gabon trying to gain its independence. Nigerian women call for France to remove troops from their country. Yeah. It's happening. They're trying to break free from. There seems to be an anti-colonialist or a new anti-colonialist, movement going on in Africa. It seems to be spreading. And I don't, this is also very scary. It seems that Russia is lending a hand, lending aid, and lending support, financially, and or just emotional support to these countries, right? Because they are, on some levels, I think, fighting against the same imperialist bloc. So the unfortunate thing about that is that it will extend the tensions between the U.S. and Russia, which is not great. Let's see, there's a little more here on Gabon. They found in the house of Jan Ngulu, he's the chief of staff of Nuruddin Bongo, eldest son of deposed President Ali Bongo, the president that was just ousted. This is what they found in their house, in his house. Suitcases and bags filled with bundles of banknotes, CFA francs, dollars, and euros. Yeah. While the people don't have enough food, while the people starve, while the people scrimp and scrape, and maybe don't have electricity, or maybe don't have, minimal infrastructure. These people are, making off with, no doubt, millions of francs and euros. And this is how it goes. Lastly, the FBI is amassing DNA profiles on literally everybody. If you didn't know that yet, part of the whole testing people, the COVID tests, right? When they were getting you to come into the centers and take the COVID tests and take the PCR tests, they were gathering your DNA. They were gathering people's DNA for that. I took one of those tests. I don't know if my DNA is safe somewhere. I wish that I didn't, because all they needed was one time. The FBI has amassed 21.7 million DNA profiles, equivalent to about 7% of the U.S. population, according to Bureau data reviewed by The Intercept. The FBI aims to nearly double its current $56.7 million budget for dealing with its DNA catalog with an additional $53.1 million, so over $100 million, according to its budget request for fiscal year 2024. The requested resources will allow the FBI to process the rapidly increasing number of DNA samples collected by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the appeal for an increase says. In an April 2023 statement submitted to Congress to explain the budget request, FBI Director Christopher Wray, why is this guy still in charge of the FBI? Cited several factors that had significantly expanded the DNA processing requirement of the FBI. Wasn't Christopher Wray indicted for lying or found guilty of lying in the Russiagate? Wasn't Christopher Wray found guilty of lying in the Russiagate thing? Why did he get promoted to director of the FBI? I don't understand it. You screw up and you get promoted. That's how government works, right? You break a law, you break laws, you mess up, you know, screw the pooch, whatever you want to call it, and then you're like, well, I think what we'll do is promote you. I think that's how it works. He cited several factors that had significantly expanded the DNA processing requirements of the FBI. He said the FBI collected around 90,000 samples a month. 90,000 samples a month. How? From where? Over 10 times the historical sample volume. I'm sure this will only lead to good things. And expected the number to swell to about 120,000 a month, totaling. How are they going to get this many DNA samples? Is this another reason why they're re-upping on the COVID scare? They're trying to get people to come in and do some more PCR tests. I wonder. And somebody, I heard, I can't remember who, saying that, referring to RFK Jr. or talking about DNA directed, genetically directed bioweapons, where it's just not completely, that's completely true. That's not a wild idea. That's actually, something that they've been working on for a long time. So it's not like on any levels a crazy idea. That they just want to say that, to obviously redirect attention. But they clearly are doing that and have been doing that. And this person I was listening to was talking about, maybe this is all part of developing more genetically, directed or, right? Developing more weaponry and or control mechanisms, based on your DNA, based on your genetics. Doesn't sound out of the realm of possibility. Anyways. The staggering increases are raising questions among civil liberties advocates. I hope so. I hope so. All right, guys. That about does it for me today. I'm going to check in on the coffees and the other platforms and see if I got any messages and or tips today. Donations, whatever you want to call them. And thank you for joining me every single day on these internets. I appreciate y'all. I really hate that my I don't know why all that interference from my phone is happening. I don't know how to. There must be a way to get rid of that. I'm sure there is. I'll go look up something on YouTube later. All right. Nothing to report on as of this moment. Yeah, no. What it seems like all of the donation platforms are compromised in some way or have some kind of downfall. So you just got to go for what you know. So I don't know any way to get away from them necessarily. I don't know the one that's like, oh, this is the best one. This is totally respects your rights and your freedoms. No, they're all bad. Even Buy Me a Coffee, they process their payments through Stripe, and Stripe has been known to mess with people. So they all have their, I don't know which one is the best. I'm not really sure. Don't have an answer for you, but whatever way you donate to the show, I appreciate you. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow, and until next time, peace.